Welcome to National Arts. I'm Mike Baker. Glass blowing is as rare and unique an art form as there is today. Well, this week we'll meet Jerry Hovanec, a gentleman whose multi-dimensional work in glass has drawn national attention.
This particular tool that I have in my hand, they're called jacks. I bought in Murano in Venice from a guy who's the Dino Tedeschi, the best glass toolmaker in the world. I was fortunate enough to get to visit him and his wife.
We'll also meet photographer George Vincent, whose fashion, theatrical, portrait, and government photography has made him a household name.
To me, everything is visual, and then I relate to that visual. You know, and to have sight and not use it is pathetic.
We'll meet Jerry Hovanec and George Vincent right after this. Glass blower Jerry Hovanec's work can be found in the Chrysler Museum and in collections worldwide. His involvement with the art grew naturally out of his years of work as a potter.
I was a potter, a production potter, for about 10 years. I went to the Penland School to get some new ideas in clay. While I was there, I started to hang out in the glass shop, and there was a young woman there by the name of Susan Ford who said, "Jerry, you've been hanging around the shop every night. Here's my blowpipe, there's the furnace, why don't you try it?" And she coached me, and I did like this and I did like that, and I was hooked. And I've been blowing glass ever since.
We have before us a beautiful green eye that you have fashioned, and I understand that you're going to create one today for us with some gorgeous browns and golds in it. What are the components of this piece?
We start, the blowpipe is dipped into the furnace, and a small gather of glass is made on the end of the blowpipe. So we have a clear ball of glass on the end of the blowpipe, and then a thumb's worth, the tip of the thumb's worth of black glass is heated up and then touched to the very tip of the clear ball, and that becomes the pupil of the eye. So the first thing that we build, that we add to the clear glass, is a dot, a black dot for the pupil. So working with glass, I mean, it's called glass blowing, but there are just hundreds and hundreds of tiny little individual steps, and not very many of them actually are blowing. Then I take some thin rods of color, draw them out, chop them up, put them in a mold, and these become radial lines inside the iris. And so the ridges that you see there are the ridges that were caused by the mold, and I'll simply get the piece hot enough so that I can smooth that back out. The purpose of the step was to be able to pick up those little rods, those little radial lines for the eye. And now we've got to get it ready for the next step. That in turn gets followed by the actual color of the iris, and that's made up of little chips, little grains of different colored glass, some green and brown and yellow, golden, and that's done by taking the glass, getting it very hot, and then dipping it into a little container that's filled with these small broken pieces, and they adhere to the hot glass. After they have been smoothed in, then the next step is to add the ring around the wrap, the outside delineating line on the iris. And the way that is done is a chunk of glass is heated picked up on the end of a small rod, heated until it's very fluid, then taken and touched to the piece that's being built, and the piece is rotated, and like a spider web, it wraps a thread of color around the piece itself. That in turn is reheated. After that part of the process has been completed, then we move to the eyelashes. The eyelashes are black rods of glass that have been laid out on an aluminum plate that has grooves in it to keep them in place. So there are two separate groups of these black rods at the edge of this plate. The glass is again heated. I come over from the furnace to the plate and pick up, put the hot glass down on top of these rods, and they adhere, they stick, and then 180 degrees on the other side, the same process. So then that gives when the piece is finally spun out, they will read as black lines and therefore as black lashes.
And of all the papers I've tried, it seems New York Times works the best for this part of the process. Okay. Now we need to let this cool down a bit again, so then I can get another gather on top of it and then go
and roll it in broken white chips of glass. It's like a candy apple being, a caramel apple being rolled into nuts. This is except that these are opaque chips of white glass which become the entire background for the piece. Because as the piece is being built from the inside out, the white chips become the opaque background against which all the other colors will be seen. After they are fused in and the piece is reshaped and reformed into a symmetrical form and cooled, then I go back in for the final gather.
Like I said, each time it about doubles. So and this is why I wear long sleeves even in the summertime, so that when I expose my wrist to this, there is a fair amount of radiant heat coming off this piece. But it's still a little bit like clay. I mean, you can get it to change shape and move.
When that is then slightly blown, it's also the metal tool called jacks are used, and they are used to set the neck, to narrow down just past the edge of the blowpipe, a place where the piece will eventually break free. Once the neck has been set and the piece has been prepared, a center mark has been made in the bottom of the piece, then the punty is prepared, and punty means, or pontal means bridge, or something to be able to transfer, the piece is transferred to the punty, by breaking the neck where it had been narrowed down. So now the piece is held by the bottom or by the back, and it is reintroduced into the furnace and heated and heated and heated so that the part that was left to cool so that it would break is now heated enough so that it, with the use of a carbon rod, it can be opened. The piece can be opened into a cylinder, and finally on the last reheat, it's heated as hot as it can be made. It's starting to spread even from slight centrifugal force, little gravity. You get it as hot as you can, and then at the last second, bring it out of the furnace, spin it in your hands, and as you spin and spin and spin, centrifugal force throws it out. The dark lines absorb more of the heat and are softer. The white areas between the eyelashes go out, are a little bit stiffer, and they pull out into long tails, and you end up with the actual eye form of the piece.
Hovanec's work is as varied as it is beautiful. He likes fluidity and forms that defy gravity. One piece in particular is reminiscent of an ocean wave.
Okay, the soft pink wave is, again, pushing, I like to push the glass, pushing it a little further and hoping to maybe expand people's horizons as they think about glass. It gives me the feeling of a wave at a beach just about to come in. That pieces don't have to sit on their bottoms, that they can sit on an edge, and you can have this implied movement so that it could sit on the top of a shelf, and rather than simply sitting as a bowl form.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about the Queen of the Night. I know that she's just one of a collection of pieces from the Magic Flute that you did.
That's right. We did the entire cast of Mozart's The Magic Flute, 21 figures from the opera, and the piece we have here is the Queen of the Night. We listened to as many versions as we could get on tape or on film or slides, the sets done by different designers, and then we did our own, and we had the tapes rolling in the studio day in and day out, and in the course of a week we made our own version of the Magic Flute.
Jerry envisions the blend of rare earth elements with glass, thus enabling the glass to do tricks people have never seen before. This and other innovations have made him a man with a mission.
So my dream is to continue to do major architectural installations. I've done one for Raytheon. I'd love to do one in Washington. There's no limit. These become the unit of the mosaic. Instead of being a half by half little tile, these guys can be 3 feet by 3 feet. So space 20 by 100 would be no problem. I'd love to find a big space and someone to commission it.
George de Vincent painted for years, but needed a new challenge, one that would capture his impressionistic spirit in a number of different ways. You essentially, George, started as a painter and became a photographer.
Yeah, I saw the Family Man show, and that convinced me. It's immediate. Wanted to make a strong statement, and that was it.
Yeah. You remember your first photograph?
Yeah, when I went up to New York to the Leica School, some people recommended professional photographers, and I saw this bird, you know, and I shot it, and then I saw a cat in the window and shot it, and both, to this day, are exciting pictures.
When you photograph a theatrical show, you transcend time and become almost a reporter on the scene. Is that true?
I have this fixation with a time machine, and then when the house lights are down, you put your equipment on, house lights go up, and then you're transported to another place, another time. So the excitement of it is exciting.
Your photographs have tremendous composition. The lighting's important. The shadows almost sculpt your portraits.
All form is created by light and shade, so you can't divorce yourself from it. But by the same token, if you become conscious of all these factors, you're not going to take pictures. They've got to be instant. They've got to be a moment. As Cartier-Bresson says, he called it the decisive moment.
Now, you've done a number of books on poverty.
Well, I did the one, Shame of a Nation, with Philip Stern. And we traveled, I don't know, several 100,000 miles around the country. And then after that, I did the one with Johnson administration on the Midst of Plenty. And then Phil and I did another little book called Oh Say Can You See by the Dawn's Urban Blight.
When not in the theater, on location in the poverty belt, or in the portrait studio, De Vincent confers with associates. After 6 years with De Vincent, Jennifer Bullock has a real appreciation for his genius.
He's a curious person, curious in the sense of an unusual type of character, and curious in the way that he looks at the world. I think that when he wakes up in the morning, or even in his dreams, he's always trying to see beyond, to look at new levels. He's like a painter in a sense. He doesn't like this expression, but he is an artist. He has an artist temperament. And that's the way he views the world. And when he picks up his camera, it's merely an extension of the way that he sees things.
De Vincent has photographed all manner of individuals. What's his secret formula for getting the most out of a subject?
But first you got to expose yourself. You've got to come across, so then they feel free in return.
You
to
become
give
their
you
friend. You don't hold back. You talk
Oh,
about
no,
everything.
I talk about everything.
Politics,
religion,
whatever
philosophy,
that will
whatever,
engage them.
whatever. And I enjoy it. You know, I enjoy it.
It loosens them up.
Yeah, they don't get so waiting to be photographed.
Just over my shoulder is a portrait of Sugar Ray Leonard.
Well, he came in with doing the read thing, teaching children to read. So he came in as one of that poster thing, and the children. Very gentle guy, very nice, easy to photograph.
You referred earlier to a photograph that you've taken in New York of a bird perched on. It looks like this is the photograph.
The backdrop of New York City.
This was your first photo.
When I went up to New York, yeah, to go to the Leica School, I decided to be a photographer, and that was one of the first.
Now, this is of particular significance. I know that.
That was the riots in Washington during that time when they burnt Washington, and that was quite a drama. So it's not hard to take pictures of drama. You know, they don't happen every day, and they're not familiar to us, so they become exciting to the photographer and to the viewer. And that was an exciting time. And that's the cat that goes along with the other one. That was in a bank window in New York, and it was all there. I never realized it was so powerful until I got back. And I was amazed. I had no idea. I just saw the cat sitting there. Nothing clever about it. It's just a...
At first you think the light might be coming from behind the animal, but it's frontal light, isn't it?
No, it's from above.
It's from above.
Yeah, it's lighting the long column there we're sitting on, and the top of his head. His eyes are really two big black holes. It was an amazing picture.
You love animals, don't you?
Oh yeah, good God, yes. They soften everything.
There's a little bit of the youth and a little bit of the age, isn't there?
Yeah, well, these are ponies in North Dakota. When I was doing one of the poverty things. The Indians in North Dakota talk about poverty. I love clowns. I used to paint them. But that's part of the circus, the animals, the cats. And I got very close to that cage. I got a little nervous. But that was fun. That Papago. This was done for Evergreen magazine. And they did a feature on a young 15-year-old poet called Papago. And this was the series I did for the magazine on Spanish Harlem. This is Papago
Mm-hmm.
in Spanish Harlem. Quite a
Very
guy.
intense picture.
Pardon?
Very intense picture.
He's an intense young man, but the whole drama behind him is as intense as he is.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't too hard. The pictures just develop. You don't prearrange them. You don't preconceive them. They're there, and it's the same with portraits or anything else. It's the moment.
So you look for the moment, you don't try to stage it.
I don't look for the moment. The moment either evolves or it's there, and if you see it, you grab it. And you miss millions, I'm sure.
But the better photographers obviously have an eye for that kind of thing.
Well, that's their language.
Yeah.
We all have a language, and that happens to be mine.
We talked about toys earlier and how they're abandoned by children as they grow older. Here's another example of that.
Well, I did a series on dolls and discarded toys. But here again, you hear this sound. And here's a little doll here that was evidently thrown out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And well worn, but it says so much. At one time, it was nice and clean and polished and had dress on it. And it was loved by a child. And evidently the child has grown up, discarded it.
There's real pathos in this photograph.
Oh, all kinds of, it's like clowns. You know, it's a part of us in everything.
Mm-hmm. As a photographer, how do you want to be remembered?
That's hard to say, other than the fact that I looked at the world.
That's it for National Arts. Thank you for being with us. And until next time, remember, art was meant to be appreciated, so be a part of it.